There were nights when I opened Apex even though I didn't really want to play. I'd sit there looking at the game and think, I don't feel like playing tonight, and sometimes I would close it. But then I'd start thinking about it. If I stopped playing for a few days, would my aim get worse? Would my reactions feel slower? Would I lose the rhythm I'd spent so much time building? And somehow taking a night off didn't feel relaxing. It felt wrong, like I was neglecting something. So I'd open the game again. Maybe I'd play a few matches, not because I was excited to, not because I was having some incredible gaming session, just because I felt like I should. And that's the part I couldn't really explain. Nobody was forcing me to play. There was no obligation. I could have closed the game and done something else, but somehow not playing felt like a decision I would regret. And the strange thing is, I don't think I'm the only person who's felt that. Maybe you've opened a game because your friends were already online. Maybe you've logged in just to keep your progress going. Maybe you've played when you were tired because taking a break somehow felt worse. You might not even have wanted to play, but you played anyway. So why? Why can something we're completely free to walk away from sometimes feel like something we shouldn't walk away from? So why does it matter whether I come back tomorrow? Because for a live service game, closing the game doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is over. It can mean the next session is already waiting for you. Take Destiny 2. Activities, challenges, bounties, and other systems operate on daily and weekly reset cycles. You log in, there's something new to do, you make some progress, you close the game, and tomorrow there's another reason to come back. That's important because a live service game isn't built around one great session. It's built around the next session and then the one after that. Every time you return, there's another opportunity for the game to give you, something to do, something to chase, and depending on the game, something to spend, money on. So the goal doesn't necessarily have to be make this player play for 6 hours tonight. Sometimes it's much simpler. Give them a reason to come back tomorrow. And once tomorrow has a reason, the next question becomes, how do you make coming back feel so natural that eventually you don't even have to think about it? Giving me a reason to come back tomorrow isn't enough. If you want me to keep coming back, you need to make returning feel normal. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to give me a schedule. Imagine opening Destiny 2 at the beginning of the week. There are new challenges, new activities, new rewards, things you can work toward. Then you come back tomorrow. Something has reset. Another objective is available. Another reward can be earned, and the cycle continues. Daily, weekly, seasonal, different parts of the game running on different clocks. At first, you consciously decide whether you want to participate, but after you've done it enough times, something changes. You already know what's waiting for you. You log in, check what's available, do the daily, work on the weekly, make some progress, and come back tomorrow. The game doesn't have to convince you from scratch every time. The routine is already there, and that's what makes routines powerful. They turn a decision into a habit. You stop asking, should I play today, and start thinking, what do I need to get done? The game begins occupying little spaces in your week, a challenge before work, a few matches at night, something to finish before the weekly reset, and eventually returning doesn't just feel like something you want to do. It starts feeling like something you're supposed to do. But there's still one problem. A routine is easy to ignore when missing. It doesn't really matter. You can skip a daily challenge. You can miss a weekly reward. You can come back later. So what happens when the game gives you something you can't simply get later? What happens when the reward disappears? What happens when everyone else gets something and you don't? That's where a reason to return becomes something much more powerful. FOMO. But there's a difference between having a reason to come back and feeling like you can't afford to miss it. That's where FOMO enters the picture. Take something as simple as a seasonal battle pass. You open the game and there's a progression track sitting in front of you. You can see the rewards. You can see how far you've progressed. And somewhere on the screen, there's a reminder, the season ends. Fortnite is a good example because its battle pass is tied to seasonal progression and XP, with rewards available during that season. At first, that doesn't seem particularly threatening. You look at a reward and think, well, do I want this? If the answer is no, you move on. But introduce a deadline and the question changes. Now it's, what happens if I don't get it in time? And that sounds like a small difference. But psychologically, it changes what you're thinking about. You're no longer looking only at the value of the reward. You're thinking about the possibility of losing the opportunity to get it. And that can make something feel more important than it did before, where maybe you wouldn't have cared about the skin if it were available forever. Maybe you wouldn't have spent money on it by itself. But now there's a clock attached to it. The season is getting shorter. The reward is getting closer to disappearing. And suddenly, you don't want to be the person who missed it. That's the strange thing about FOMO. The fear isn't always, I desperately want this. Sometimes it's, I don't want to miss my chance. And once that thought enters the picture, the game doesn't necessarily have to make the reward more exciting. It can simply make the opportunity to get it temporary. Now imagine you've already paid for the battle pass. You've already unlocked half of it. You've already spent hours earning XP. You're only a few levels away from something you want. You know that the season is ending. And you look at the progress you've already made. At that point, stopping doesn't just mean not playing tonight. It can feel like leaving something unfinished. So you tell yourself, well, I'll just play for a little while. One challenge, one level, one more match, and the same loop starts again. But here's what makes this interesting. The reward doesn't necessarily have to be extremely valuable. The feeling can come from the possibility of not having it. The skin you never unlocked, the event you missed, the reward everyone else got, the progress bar that stopped just short of the end, and that's when FOMO becomes more than simply wanting something. You're not always returning because you want something. Sometimes you're returning because you don't want to be the person who missed it. And now the reason for playing has changed again. First, the game gave you a reason to return. Then it gave you a routine. Now it has given you something to lose. But what happens when that feeling isn't attached to one reward or one season and starts following you every time you think about taking a break? Because eventually the question isn't just, what do I want to unlock? It's, what am I going to lose if I stop? And that's when this starts becoming more than a game mechanic. It starts becoming a feeling you carry outside the game. And this is where things started feeling different for me. Because I remember opening Apex on nights when I didn't really want to play. There wasn't some exciting new thing I was desperate to try. I wasn't thinking, I can't wait to play. I was thinking, I probably should. Because if I stopped playing for a few days, I had this feeling that I'd get worse. My aim wouldn't feel as sharp. My reactions might get slower. I'd lose the rhythm I'd spent so much time building. And logically, I knew that taking a few days off wasn't going to erase hundreds of hours of practice, but it still bothered me. So I play a few matches, not because I particularly wanted to, just enough to feel like I was keeping myself sharp. And that's when I started noticing something uncomfortable. I wasn't really playing to have fun. I was playing to maintain something, my skill, my rank, my progress, my place in the game. And once you start looking for it, you realize how many things a game can make you feel responsible for maintaining. A battle pass you've already paid for, a streak you don't want to break, progress you've already invested hours into, friends you don't want to fall behind. None of those things are inherently bad. Wanting to improve is part of what makes competitive games fun. Playing with friends is one of the best reasons to play. And finishing something you've invested in can feel satisfying. The problem begins when all of those reasons start stacking together. You finish one objective, and there's another waiting. You take a few days off, and suddenly you're thinking about everything you've fallen behind on, and eventually the question changes. It's no longer, do I want to play? It's, should I play? And those two questions might sound almost identical, but they don't feel the same. I want to play means the game is giving you something you genuinely want. I should play means you're protecting something you've already invested in. And when that happens often enough, the game can start feeling less like entertainment and more like maintenance. You can still have fun. You can still laugh with your friends. You can still have an incredible match. But underneath all of that, there's another thought running in the background. I need to keep up. And that's when something designed to help you relax can start feeling like another responsibility. But here's where things get complicated, because isn't that also what a great game is supposed to do? Make you want to come back, make you want to improve, make you curious about what's next, make you want to play with your friends. If a game makes you want to play tomorrow, why should we automatically call that manipulation? Maybe the problem isn't that the game wants you to come back. Maybe it's why you feel like you have to. But before we call all of this a problem, there's something we have to admit. Retention itself isn't bad. A great game is supposed to make you want to come back. If I finish an Apex match and immediately want another, that's not manipulation. If I want to improve because getting better is satisfying, that's not manipulation. And if my friends are online and I genuinely want to play with them, that's not manipulation either. The difficult part is figuring out where that changes, because the same system can feel completely different depending on why you're using it. Take Final Fantasy XIV. It has recurring rewards, weekly activities, progression systems, and plenty of reasons to keep coming back. But it also gives players room to step away. You can take a break, come back later, and continue playing without every missed day feeling like something you've permanently lost. That doesn't mean Final Fantasy IV has no retention mechanics. It means recurring content alone doesn't tell us whether a player experiences it as something enjoyable or something they have to maintain, and I think that's where the line starts to become clearer. The important question isn't just what the game is asking you to do, it's what you feel you have to protect. Your progress, your rank, your rewards, your skill, your money, your place in a group, or even the feeling that all the time you've already invested was worth it. If you come back because you're excited, that's one relationship with the game. If you come back because you're afraid of what happens when you don't, so that's another. And that's what makes live service games different. A story can end, a campaign can have a final mission, but a live service game can keep generating another reason for tomorrow, another week, another season, another thing to finish. And if you genuinely enjoy that cycle, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you start noticing that you're playing mainly because stopping feels uncomfortable, so that's worth paying attention to, because maybe the real question isn't does this game want me to come back? Of course it does. The better question is, if I stop coming back tomorrow, would I actually miss playing, or would I mostly be afraid of what I lose? And I think that's what I was really feeling when I felt guilty for not logging in. It wasn't really guilt about missing a game. It was the feeling that I was leaving something behind. If I stopped playing Apex, I wasn't just skipping a few matches. I was stepping away from the skill I'd spent hundreds of hours building. If I stopped playing a game with a battle pass, there was progress I'd already paid for. If I stopped playing with friends, I was stepping away from something we'd built together. And if I simply stopped logging in, I had to accept that all of those things could keep moving without me. That's a strange position for a game to put you in, because games are supposed to be something we choose to play. We open them because we want to. We stay because we're having fun. We come back because there's something we're excited to see. And sometimes that's exactly what happens. Sometimes you really do want another match. Sometimes you genuinely want to finish that challenge. Sometimes your friends are online and you'd rather be there than anywhere else. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when the reason you return slowly changes, when you're no longer thinking about what you're going to enjoy, but what you might lose by staying away. And maybe that's why these systems can be so effective. They don't necessarily have to make the game more fun every single day. They can make leaving feel more expensive. Your progress, your rank, your skill, your rewards, your social connections, your time. And once you've invested enough into something, walking away can feel like admitting that all of that investment is gone, but maybe it isn't. Maybe taking a break doesn't mean you've wasted the time you spent playing. Maybe missing a reward doesn't mean you've lost something important. Maybe your aim gets a little rusty. Maybe you fall behind. Maybe your friends keep playing without you, and maybe that's okay, because the question I should have been asking wasn't what will I miss if I don't log in. It was, do I actually want to be there? And I think that's the difference that matters. A great game can give you a reason to come back. It can make you curious. It can make you excited. It can make you want to improve. It can make you want to spend another night with your friends. But there's a difference between a game you love returning to and a game you feel like you can't afford to leave. One gives you a reason to stay. The other gives you a reason to be afraid of going. And maybe the next time you open a game, even though you don't really feel like playing, that's the question worth asking. What am I actually coming back for?